Hello, here I am at the changing the guard near Buckingham Palace. You can hear the band coming. It's the band of the Coldstream Guards. I can tell because they were playing their quick march earlier, which is Non più andrai farfallone amoroso. I think it's by Mozart. And so the police are keeping the crowds in check. You see the police officer on the horse at the front, and they're coming. Oh, but the bandmaster, he's from the Irish Guards, I can tell, because you can see that plume, the blue plume, as in, so that's St. Patrick's blue. There are 5 regiments of foot guards, Coldstream Guards, Grenadier Guards, Scots Guards, Irish Guards, Welsh Guards, found in that order. And they all have something, well, some have something slightly different in their hat. You can tell by the number of buttons they have. Is it 1 by 1 or 2 by 2 or 3 by 3, 4 by 4 or 5 by 5, which regiment they are. They got the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in order of foundation. Look where their sheet music is. That blue, purple, blue, and that is the flag of the household division. The 5 regiments of foot guards and the 2 regiments of horse guards. They're looking on the collars. I can see some of them are Scots Guards because they've got the thistle. So maybe those is it because Scots Guards are going away, and maybe the other ones, the Coldstreams, are coming in. Oh, and those are Coldstreams wearing the red plumes in their hats. You can tell. They're bearskin hats, and they really are made from bears. But they last over a century, those hats, if you look after them. Going on towards Wellington Barracks, which is just over there. And the police deal with the public, the soldiers don't deal with the public. So their guns are not loaded, by the way. There's no reason why their weapons may be loaded. They're not here in a combat role, but the bayonets are real. So this is a red road because it's a royal road. We're in a royal park. We're in St. James's Park because yonder lies St. James's Palace, which is actually the official residence of the British royal family. It's not Buckingham Palace, despite the common misconception. And Buckingham Palace is over this way. Can't see it very well because this tree is in the way, bit of a side of it. If I go up there, there'll be so much more of a crowd. And there's a Victoria Memorial that way. You can see that golden figurine of Athena Nike, as in that goddess of victory, up above it. All right. And so another unit of foot guards, we're marching out from Wellington Barracks in a minute because they're replacing the ones who've just marched out. They've done their 24 hours. So every day, just about, unless it's very inclement weather, at 11:30 in the morning there will be the changing of the guard, and tourists like to see it. It lasts up to an hour, and you'll see some of the horse guards as well. There are 2 regiments of horse guards. There's the Blues and Royals and the Lifeguards. So Blues and Royals, that's 1 regiment. There were 2 separate ones, the Blues and the Royals, but they're amalgamated in 1967. And then, so the Blues and Royals wear a blue tunic, the Lifeguards wear a red tunic. What else about them? So, and their role is like they're armoured troops normally when they actually have to be in combat. So you can see all the Union flags here and these gates. I wish I knew how to zoom. And on the stone pillars of these gates, it says Australia on this one. There's an infant holding a kangaroo, the infant's facing away. The other toddler's holding a sheep, and so on. And if you go closer, you'll see the various other pillars around, saying like West Africa, Canada, Newfoundland, parts of the erstwhile Britannic Empire. Surprise these chaps. Oh, the police officer's telling them, turn around, go back. You mustn't cycle in here. You do so see some policemen on bicycles. Okay. So there they are, tub thumping the British Army outside Wellington Barracks. I read how in the 18th century they had a commander there with the unlikely name of Sir Julius Caesar. There's the Guards Chapel, which is open to the public, as in where divine worship is celebrated. Certainly Anglican worship. I don't know if other Christian denominations worship in that chapel. And a German doodlebug scored a direct hit there in March 1944 and killed dozens of guardsmen. So a private in the foot guards has a rank guardsman, not private. I don't know what it is in the horse guards, but they've got different ranks. They say like corporal of horse or cornet is the lowest officer rank in the horse guards, and so on. So the Brigade of Guards, the household division, same thing. They're here to guard the royal family in London, and time was until about 1973 they marched to the Bank of England every night to stop it being robbed. But advances in technology changed, and that was deemed to be no longer necessary. But they have a real combat role. They fought in Northern Ireland, in Iraq, Afghanistan, everywhere. And they have the musicians they go to the Royal Military School of Music, but I heard that's closing down. Some of them are women, when women aren't usually allowed in the Foot Guards or the Lifeguards. They do have some musicians on horseback, and the musicians, they also train as medics, combat medics to deal with trauma. They're not actual doctors or nurses, so they do have a combat role, which I think is not actually fighting, but attending to the wounded. So you see there the police cavalry, well, they're on bicycles. But you do see some police officers on horses from time to time. So waiting for the others to show up. Come on, don't delay me. I want to make this video at least 8 minutes long, because then you get the revenue. You don't get a brass farthing if it's under 8 minutes. So the motto of the Brigade of Guards is Septem Juncta in Uno, 7 joined in 1. I suppose it must have been 8 at one point. So the Coldstream Guards, they take their name from a river in the extreme north of England, as in Cold Stream, but they always pronounce it without the D, like Coldstream, and often known as the Coldstream. And then the Grenadier Guards, well, there was a Grenadier company in each battalion, so a battalion being roughly 500 strong, and a company being up to 100, so they're the tallest chaps from the whole battalion put together in one company, and because the idea being having a longer reach, that we would throw their grenades further. So then the Grenadier Guards were established. So the Coldstream Guards about 1658, if memory serves. And then the Grenadier Guards slightly later under Charles II. So I'm not quite sure about when the Lifeguards and the Blues and Royals were established. You see, that is Wellington Barracks there. I thought I might cross over here, but maybe not. There'll be a lot of shrieking, because it's actually easier to scream at a high pitch. It's easier on the voice. See very modern bits of Wellington Barracks and rather older bits of Wellington Barracks. I've seen a Jamaican regiment do this, and it's not always the Brigade of Guards who does it. Occasionally, like, even the RAF would do it. Other regiments, other Commonwealth countries have their soldiers doing it. Okay, so what's the next thing? And then the Scots Guards were founded later in the 17th century, and the Irish Guards established in 1900 during the Second South African War, the Second Boer War, some call it, and the Welsh Guards were formed in 1915 during the Second World War. Now, are they going to come at the Mall? Because the Mall is the main street from Buckingham Palace right down to Trafalgar Square. Is that what the police officer said? I might go and inquire. So we're just seeing a little bit of it. Now, you can stand right in front of Buckingham Palace to see this, but unless you're very tall or right at the front, you won't see that much. It's often thought to be a better vantage point. That's why tour guides will often direct you to stand about here. Well, because their access to and egress from Buckingham Palace comes via this part. They wear grey greatcoats from November through to the end of March. They wear the red tunics otherwise. There was a suggestion they ought to use a synthetic material. Oh, you can see the cavalry regiment in the distance. So maybe I should have moved position to see them. But they're not letting us through where I wanted to see them. So I think I'm going to miss out on a bit of that. There's always some cavalry. Now, the only colour discrimination in the British Army relates to horses, because officers ride white horses and other ranks ride black horses. But why was that? Well, it's because it's useful to be able to determine whether someone is an officer or not at a great distance, and therefore you could instantly tell from the colour of his steed. All right, so I think we're not going to see the rest, so I'll switch it off now.